Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick video on how to improve your credit score. Mostly for the reason that I'd say the reason behind this is if you're a convict getting out of jail, prison, etc., rehab, all that, there's a high likelihood that your credit is pretty poor, and there's also a high likelihood that getting an apartment or a place to live or a vehicle loan is going to be difficult, and these tips should help you get in a position to where that is less difficult. So that's kind of the goal. There's also, I have people message me that have no criminal background, has nothing to do with that. It's just like regular dudes, regular girl, just trying to improve their score so they can get a lower rate on a car or a house. And this is all gonna help anyone. So I would say the first thing I would do is I would go get a copy of your credit report. You can do it online. Credit Karma is a free one online. There's also an online one called annualcreditreport.com. You can go to the bank and just ask your bank to print you off a report. I prefer the printed version so I can actually, like old school, look at it and write stuff down and highlight and make a list. Because the first thing and one of the most important things to improve your score is to pay your debts down. 35% of your credit score is your debt to income ratio. That's the largest chunk of the pie. There's also other chunks of the pie. I'll show you a screenshot, or maybe it'll be the thumbnail to the video, I don't know. But there's 30% of it is what you owe. The type of credit is going to be 10%. Length of history is 15%. New credit opened is going to be 10%. So the biggest chunk is your payment history and how much you owe. So those are your two biggest things. So that's what I always recommend. I've helped a lot of people get their credit scores improved over the years, and one as drastic as like 100 points in 6 months is the most drastic I've seen with this method. So I'm going to get my credit report. I'm going to make a list of my debts, smallest to largest, just write them down. And this is the Dave Ramsey snowball method. It works better than any other method that I have seen. And the reason behind it is you see some momentum and you see some wins. So you make the list, take your smallest debt first, regardless of interest rate. Don't get confused on the interest rates. Just take the smallest debt, attack that debt with a vengeance. Take your other debts and just everything else as a minimum payment. We're going to get to them next. So as soon as you pay off that first smallest debt, hopefully it's only a few $100. Hopefully you can do that the day you watch this video. You pay off that first one. Now you roll that money into the next smallest debt plus the minimum payment that you had on that one. You attack that one. Once that one's done, you rinse and repeat until you have all of your consumer debts paid off. Some of these are going to be much more difficult, especially if you have like student loans that are in the neighborhood of, $30, $50, $80, $100,000. I strongly recommend still attack that as fast as you possibly can as soon as you get to that debt. My guess is the forgiveness thing is likely not going to happen. And even if it does, don't be a douche, pay your debts. You're the one that took that loan out. You're the one that agreed to it. No one else wants to pay it back for you. So pay your debts off. That's the number one most important thing. The second thing that I would do, and you don't have to do these in order, I'd also make phone calls to your credit card companies. If you have 3 or 4 credit cards, for example, you want to call them and get a credit line increase. If you have, say, $1,000 credit limit on one of your credit cards, call them up and ask for a $5,000 limit or a $10,000 limit or whatever it is, whatever you can get. So that way your credit utilization is going to be lower, which is also going to help your score. So I would do that across the board on all of your cards. Try to get a higher limit so it shows that you're using less percentage of your available credit. It's huge. That's the 30% what you owe. Don't make late payments. Probably a super obvious thing, but that is going to be tied heavily into the biggest portion of your credit score. It's just your behavior around money. If you're paying things late, you're probably less responsible. So write it down, get a plan, pay your things off quickly. Some of the benefits of having better credit, if you're not aware, if you've never had good credit, you get better offers on everything. Your loans are going to be cheaper. Your approvals are going to be higher. You'll always be approved for whatever you want. There's going to be, what I use it for personally is scenarios like if I'm going to travel and I want to buy plane tickets for the family, for example, we're all going somewhere. If I want a better price on my plane tickets. A lot of times the airline company will offer an incentive. Hey, if you sign up for this credit card and book that trip on that card, we'll give you a $500 statement credit after your flights, things like that. So you get free money. That's why you want to improve your score. It's going to also increase your likelihood of getting into apartments or getting your first home, things like that. Those are the obvious things. There's not a ton you can really go off on a credit video. The long story short is pay your bills, pay them on time, and try to reduce debt. Once you've done that, your score is going to skyrocket. So try that out. Message me or comment on the video if you have specific requests or questions about this. I'm pretty knowledgeable on it. I've always had an 800 plus credit score, and it's always been pretty easy for me. So message me and I'll tell you exactly what to do if you have like a specific question. Thanks.